Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. Our guest today is well known in the feed industry. He spent 9 years with Cargill on the poultry side, 19 years with Land O'Lakes as poultry nutritionist, and today he is managing director of Cornerstone Resources. Gregory Engelke joins us to bring us up to date on 2 new protocols for measuring trypsin inhibitors. Thank you for joining us today, Greg. Great to see you.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.
So we're going to talk a little bit about measuring trypsin inhibitors. And I know the United Soybean Board has supported work at Benson Hill and through USDA ARS to develop low-cost, high-throughput methods for measuring trypsin inhibitors. What can you tell us about that? I know you've been a bit involved in that work.
Well, in the last few years, there's been additional questions raised relative to what we call anti-nutritional factors, of which protease inhibitors and specifically trypsin inhibitors are part of that. And, although trypsin inhibitors can reduce the protein or specific amino acid digestibility, historically in normal processing side of things with it, there's effective methods to mitigate these inhibitors and the reduction that they would cause in protein digestibilities. At the same time, the measurement of these inhibitors has not been very simple. It's actually quite a time-consuming process and also costly, along with a substantial amount of variability depending upon laboratories in between labs with it. The normal pricing is around $15 a sample side of things. So to be able to better understand, and to understand you need to measure those things with it, the United Soy Board has partnered both with public and private sectors, and as you mentioned, both the USDA and the ARC and also Benson Hill from the private sector to be able to develop a quick and accurate method to measure specifically the inhibitors, 2 of these inhibitors that are in the trypsin inhibitor domain area.
So why is this important? Tell us what this means for the industry.
Well, the fact of actually having both the USDA through the ARC and specifically working with Dr. Harry Krishman, who offices at the University of Missouri side of things, along with Benson Hill with it, there were similar approaches that were used to look at new protocols or methods to be able to get consistent measurements on individual trypsin inhibitor compounds. They did it kind of along a similar path, but separately with it. And they basically came up with 2 new protocols to be able to accurately measure trypsin inhibitor quickly, more cost effectively, and to be able to have a delivery of consistent results so that end users could have faith in those numbers to be able to make judgment decisions relative to product from these new protocol processes for measurement.
So as a poultry swine nutritionist, these results are probably pretty important. So what does it mean when you come to formulating diets? What do nutritionists need to know?
Well, anytime we look at a great package of nutrients, which is what soybean meal is, you want to also take into consideration any factors that may, along like any other raw material, may have a negative effect upon those nutrient digestibility side of things with it. By having this new tool chest to be able to measure quickly true presence in a direct means versus an indirect means of the presence of two specific trypsin inhibitors side of things, both the Kurtz trypsin inhibitor and the Bowman Brick inhibitor side of things as the actual compounds with it, it's going to allow a person to be able to evaluate the quality in a direct means of that soybean meal, which is a substantial portion of the nutrients that are going into your poultry or swine feed with it. And it can give you confidence, both as a nutritionist. It's also a great tool to be able to help buyers understand the quality of the meal that you're getting from your suppliers with it, to be able to meet their company's requirements, and more specifically, providing high quality nutrient package to the animals that you're feeding.
What would you say are the implications for the overall feed and food chain?
Well, and like many pieces of formulation, cost are involved with it. So, we're judged as nutritionists as to the quality of performance, the gains, the feed conversions, the taking of nutrients from feedstuffs such as soybean meal and putting that into tissue deposition or egg output side of things with it. And by understanding and having good quality measurements and understanding the potential under potentially poor processing techniques, one could be able to more quickly change suppliers if that was the case with it. So it comes down to cost of protein production for the consumers out there and economics from the standpoint of production system sides.
A reminder to folks, if you have any questions for Greg, to please just post those in the chat. So Greg, as we wrap up here today, due to increased biodiesel demand, some industry experts forecast that soy processing capacity in the U.S. will increase somewhere between 10 and 25% by 2025. What are the implications of this new test and the results to date in relation to the increased supply of soybean meal?
Well, once again, as more potential soy products, soybean meal, becomes available to the animal industry, it can become a higher proportion within the diet. And the more we understand the quality aspects of it and have confidence in that quality of that, the fact that we have, under proper processing techniques, have been able to inactivate proteases such as trypsin inhibitor that are naturally present within soybean meal, we're able to once again provide that nutrient package that not only has high amino acid values, but highly digestible, and also does not have any other negative effects relative to feed passage or those type of things, of which can be caused if products are not properly processed with it. So it should allow us to be able to elevate the usage of soybean meal, and particularly in certain market areas where all vegetable diets are more part of the marketing program for the end product side of things. Buyers and nutritionists and formulating teams need that level of confidence and to be able to have that data on a quick and consistent basis from their suppliers of soybean meal to them with it. By understanding these things better, it also helps us to be able to, once again, I want to say maximize, or more importantly, optimize the full relationship of all amino acids. So not just the ones we think of as the initial requirements of lysine and methionine side of things, but going down through branch chain amino acids once again to be able to meet the specifications, where as a nutritionist, we're formulating diets too. So it brings the package together. You need to be able to have confidence in what you're measuring and what you're providing into that diet.
Very good. Some great points today. Greg Engelke of Cornerstone Resources, great to have you with us. I appreciate your time. Likewise to all of you that are joining us online, thank you for being here. Tomorrow on Feedstuffs 365, we'll be changing things up just a little bit. Join us as we go downtown to talk to the co-owners of Freight to Plate. They're taking on the food deserts in the Windy City through the production of produce in freight containers. Their first operation has been up and running for about a year, and they're set to add some additional sites starting this summer. We take you there and we show you how it all works and what they're up to. That's at 1 p.m. tomorrow, right here on Feedstuffs 365. Until then, for Feedstuffs 365, I'm Sarah Muirhead.